Welcome to Bleav In 76ers with your hosts, former 76ers point guard Eric Snow and two Sixers fanatics in Marcus and Teja Dash. Bleav In 76ers is presented by BetOnline.AG.
BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports, contests, and events with first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews and news for every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sports information, from live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head to BetOnline today or use your mobile device to join today and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code, that's Bleav50, BLEAV50, to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, where the game starts. Hey guys, welcome to Bleav In 76ers podcast. I'm Marcus Dash. I'm here with our host, former and legendary 76ers point guard Eric Snow. I'm repping his jersey today. And my brother Teja Dash. How you guys doing?
Doing good. How are you doing?
Good.
Can't complain. Got the, as I mentioned, I got the jersey on. I'm going to wear this to pick up basketball tonight to get a little bit of the East Stone. I'm going to tee somebody up tonight, big time. I'm going to get someone's grill.
Give them stops. Hopefully you give them stops and make the occasional shot.
You can ask Tej. I'm an annoying defender. So, I mean, not that you were an annoying defender. You were a good defender, but, I kind of make up for it by doing some illegal stuff. But, yeah.
Okay. I understand.
I think a good defender, God, should be a little annoying, right?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, yeah, if you're a good defender, you are annoying to whoever you're defending.
Mm-hmm.
Brady, I call it grit. But there's not really a lot going on in the 76ers world, but there are some topics we're going to get into tonight. But before we start tonight, I saw that George Niang was on Barstool podcast a couple days ago. And they were making a big to-do about how he's a part of James Harden's go-out crew, like when they go out to the bars and the clubs and stuff. Niang's been a part of that since he's been with Philadelphia. So it begs the question, Eric, who was a part of your crew when you guys would go out, you guys, make stops to LA or, Miami? Who was a part of that squad that you guys would go out with? Who's the consistent guys?
We didn't really have go-out crews. It was, a lot of the times with us, we would, you had some guys that went out all the time and some guys that didn't. I wasn't a go out before the night of the night before the game guy.
Good man.
So a lot of times I didn't go out because we would leave after the game. So I would go out to dinner and stuff like that, but I didn't really club a lot before, the night before games. Gotcha. Occasionally I did, depending on where we were. If you go to Miami or Atlanta or somewhere and you're not staying, then yeah, you may dip out. But I would say we didn't really have cliques like that. So if guys were going, you kind of went. If you were going, you kind of went where everybody was going. So it wasn't, it was just really about who was going. But most guys, they would get there, we got our own car, so you can leave and go whenever you wanted to. We may all arrive at the same time, but, each guy would probably have their driver or their car. So, when you're ready to go, you can go. Or, you may not leave alone. You may come alone, but you may not leave alone.
Right.
Did you have a guy who wrangled people for going out at all? Like a guy who was the driving force? If you guys were going to go out as a group or meet somewhere, did you have a guy who was kind of coordinating that kind of stuff, or was that behind that?
We didn't really have a guy coordinated. It was we always had a guy that kind of knew
where to go.
And most of it was because Allen had a party everywhere we went. So it was usually something that was somehow attached with AI, because people, it was easy for him to attach his name with something, then everybody would show up. So usually when we did something, it was something that was attached to him.
Okay.
So he wasn't necessarily organizing it. His people would have it set up. So it was pretty much set up for him and us to arrive.
That's good.
He would get mad a lot when we didn't go. Especially Aaron. He used to really get on Aaron if Aaron didn't go.
Why? Because was Aaron like a never go out guy? He was always trying to get him out.
Aaron was really like the only guy that was single. So he used to get mad, like, why are you not going out? Like, you're single. Why are you not going out? He used to always get mad at him. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was pretty interesting.
That's funny.
Aaron was at home shaping that beard, man, shaping that neckline and
Aaron was like, it was a lot, he didn't really go out the night before. Like, that's what we used to tell AI. Like, we aren't really like night before the games. We're not like you. We can hang out all night and then hang the 40 the next time. Like, that's, we're not made like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he was. So, that was pretty incredible of the things that he could do hanging out all night the night before the game.
Man.
Yeah, but based on that interview with Niang, it seemed like Harden is the orchestrator behind all the hangouts and the go outs and stuff. And I think you looked at more of it, Teja. You said that like Harden, like he ends up paying for the entirety of the bill, like when they go out and stuff.
That's how
that could help you be a part of the team. If he's paying, that was sort of what I was thinking. Like well, who's footing this bill? That'll kind of tell you who the ringleader is.
Yeah, Niang kind of insinuated that when he said he takes care of his people is what he said. So
yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, if you're gonna make people go out,
you're asking them to go out. But if you ask them to go, then I'm sure you're gonna somehow make some accommodations. If you're asking, that's like if you're inviting them.
Yeah.
Like I bet you when McKee finally made it out, AI took care of his bill. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure Aaron didn't pay for a thing that night.
There's always that guy in the group that like when you come out, everyone gets like really excited. Like, yeah, look who it is. Look who's arriving.
Yeah.
Okay, so talking about Harden, so with the first topic tonight, there was a rumor that was reported by Marc Stein that indicated that Morey has kind of promised Harden some long-term security for what he did this year as far as taking less this offseason. So here's the full quote of what Marc Stein had reported. Quote, there's suspicion in some corners of the league that Harden had to have consented to this arrangement because he also secured a wink-wink guarantee about the future, meaning a promise from Morey that would allow Harden to recoup what he left on the table this offseason by declining the player option for next season in his new Sixers deal, and then signing a whopper of a 5-year deal in the summer of 2023 at almost 34. So what do you think about this rumor that Marc Stein reported here? And if it's true, how would you guys feel about this deal that Morey and Harden made?
I'm not getting into these rumors and what the sources said and all this stuff. Like I think it's going to come down to how James and the team performs. That's what I'm going by. I'm not going by what someone thinks or wink deals and all that. Mm-hmm. I think that's what it's going to go by. The deal, and I'm going to go by the deal that he has right now. So if he performs, the team performs, he'll be taken care of accordingly. And that's the only thing I'm looking at. So I understand Marc is, reporting stuff and all that. I don't have the relationships for all of that information. So, I don't think that Marc would, I know Marc, I don't think Marc would say that and just bring it out of the air. So somebody's telling him that.
Mm-hmm.
We just don't know why or if it's true or how much of it, or if it's just partly true. So I'm going to just go by, what I see. I see a deal, and I think if they perform and he performs, then it'll be a deal behind that.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's more to that. Whatever it's being told to Marc Stein, I think it's more to that. Like, yeah, you get a 5-year deal if we kind of see, if there's numbers behind it. If you look better, if you look more like that old Harden that everyone wants to see, I think it's more that case than just a blanket. Oh, you take less this year, we're going to give you a 5-year deal next year. Like a blank check.
Yeah.
So that being said, though, Eric, if he did show and he was pre-hamstring Brooklyn Harden, let's say Brooklyn Harden. Would you be okay signing a 4-year huge max?
I think if he completes his 2 years, I see 2 or 3 year deals. I don't see anything more than that. I just don't see it because even if he deserves it and earns it, I just don't see on the open market he'll get the years. I think he'll get the money. It's just, it was the years this year to me. If he signed a 5-year deal right now, people will be complaining. So now you're telling me 2 years out, he's going to get a 5-year deal?
Well, I think they're assuming he would opt out of his player option next year and then sign the deal next year.
Yeah, I mean, I still think.
But it is one more year. I still
think that it comes down to play. I think James will be in, and I think he's in that time of maybe if his career, as long as the Philly is still competing and he's winning, I think it's that time of his career where he's, those 2 or 3 years and maybe with opt-outs and re-sign. I don't see longer. I don't see a 5-year deal. I don't see one. But this season could change my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it could be very legit. I mean, it's, where smoke, there's fire, I guess. But for anyone saying it's not, I don't think so. I mean, Morey and Harden don't have a normal GM player relationship, and they go way back. They have a real relationship, and I'm glad they do. I don't know if there's anything wrong with this. I know they're being, who knows what's going on in the investigations with his contracts, but
I mean, the thing that I see in this, and how when we all brought it up, the first thing that came to my mind, it was somebody was trying to find something that's maybe illegal.
Mm-hmm.
That to me, that's what I get from it more so than him having a 5-year deal. Was more of because it's already this quote unquote investigation with all the guys we signed. So I'm thinking the first thing that came to my mind was, are they trying to find something that's illegal that we shouldn't or couldn't have done?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I got from the quote from from Marc Stein. Not necessarily. I didn't really think about the deal. I was thinking about, well, why are you talking about this? Like, if he's still under contract right now, what is this deal about? Because we all know as the season goes on, they're gonna talk about everything James does, and how he's playing and how how he performs and what he so. How you feel right now about a deal? Like, you are going to try to say what he should and shouldn't get in the end anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah. But I do agree with you though. I 3 years, maybe like a 4th team option just to throw that in there. That seems more appropriate. Even if he does look great. I mean, a 5-year deal after this, that would be, I mean, that's quite a wink. Okay. For a wink deal. So maybe he's I did 3 times, not 5 times, James.
I just don't if that was the case, then why wait? Because he could have got that deal now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then we wouldn't have gotten to be able to get Tucker and House though.
If he started at the same rate, he can. You understand what I'm saying?
But you can only raise a certain amount of percentage every year, right? So you wouldn't get that like mega max of like 40.
But I'm saying, but he could have signed a long-term deal.
Yeah.
Whatever he's making this year, he could have signed a 5-year deal with more than what he's making this year. Going forward.
Starting at this point and then going up every year, right? That's what you mean.
So he's 30, then that's 150 million right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So why not now then? If we're talking about next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they are trying to do like a shorter deal with just a lot more money then. Like, okay, we'll give you 3 years of like 40, starting at 40. How about that? Or 42 or something like that.
We see, as we've seen, the shorter deals and the opting out allow you to have some flexibility.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, and if he looks like pre-hamstring,
but I'm sure, James, if I'm giving you this flexibility, I want some assurances too. That's normal. Why would?
Yeah, and it's kind of a 1-year prove-it deal that you look somewhat close to that pre-hamstring James anyway. So I don't think.
But he already showed that he was worth what he got. So
you mean this year?
Yes. I mean, other people would get deals like people got deals like this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jalen Brunson only got a few, like 5-6 million less than he got.
So okay.
And his stats are, not nearly as good as Harden's are. But yeah, I mean, with him signing that deal, the only thing it's going to do is make our luxury tax skyrocket, and that doesn't affect us. That's the owner's pocket. So, they're going to have like a Golden State situation in a couple of years, especially if we end up, in the future trading Tobias, getting back a bunch of like broken up contracts. We're going to be a lot of money over anyway. So at this point, it's not giving Harden 10 more million. It's not going to stop us from doing what we need to do at this point. So it's like, that's owner's money at this point. It doesn't even matter. It's not like Harden will screw us by signing a $40 million deal for 3 years. That won't do anything anymore. So it's owner's money. And if he deserves it, he deserves it. Let's just play the year out, I guess.
Got it.
Yeah, I think what Eric said, I mean, wherever Stein's getting this from, it could be, people wanting to play, say there's some shady stuff going on, like a rival team saying like, look, I heard that they gave him a wink of a 5-year deal. Like that's, shady stuff. And like, just trying to point to that to kind of highlight what's going on with the organization.
Brooklyn.
Yeah. I will say this though, Eric, you've been in these kind of negotiations with, GMs and stuff, but like, is that out of the norm for a GM to be like, hey, like, if things go well this year, we can, and next year we can, maybe think about a, like a longer term deal, maybe not this exact this kind of a scenario, but like, that's not out of the norm for GMs to say stuff like that, right?
It doesn't happen with anyone in like James Harden. Usually it's, he comes in and this is his max and this is where he's at. And you have a starting point that you don't go below it. So this is different because he's taking less. I guess it's safe to say, even though he's taking less, he could have taken more than he got this year.
Mm-hmm.
And it would have been based on around the league, it would have been a fair market value for him to get more.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really about the player. I mean, some teams, I mean, what you're asking maybe with some younger guys, you kind of see that, kind of play and prove it. And sometimes it comes from the player. I'll take a shorter deal. I'll take a 1-year deal because I don't like what you're offering me, and I'm going to play myself into a deal, sort of like Aiden with Phoenix.
Right.
He didn't get what he wanted, and that's what it's almost like. Rookie deals where they play for that 1-year deal to become a free agent.
Mm-hmm.
So you see it, but not very often. But you do see it. But it can come from both sides. It could be from the team, but I think more than likely, more often, it's from the player that's saying, "Hey, I'm gonna take a 1-year deal or shorter deal."
Yeah. There's got to be trust there for sure. Right? I mean, and I think
from a player standpoint, it's do you take a 4 or 5 year deal, say for instance, at 3 to 4 million is 20 million. And you take a 1-year deal for, 4 or 5, and then you can play yourself into double what you would have taken.
Betting on yourself.
Yes. So
and I think he is doing that to a degree with this contract. He's like, I know I can be better than I was last year, and there will be no questions asked when I ask for closer to that max contract next year.
Yeah. Hopefully for everyone's sake in the Philadelphia 76ers world.
Yeah.
Okay, so sticking with current events, there was a report that Boston got involved in the Kevin Durant sweepstakes. They apparently talked about a trade that would send Jaylen Brown, Derek White, and picks to the Nets for Durant, but they wanted more picks and they wanted Marcus Smart in there as well. That's what the Nets wanted. If they pull that trade off, my question is, would they be a blatant favorite in the East over the Philadelphia 76ers? And even besides that, forget Kevin Durant. I think overall with the current construction of our team right now, is Boston that much more of a favorite in the East than the Philadelphia 76ers?
You saying without Kevin Durant?
With or without Kevin Durant. So if they gotten them, obviously, I think we would say they would be the favorite over the Sixers. But even without Kevin Durant, Boston Celtics right now, this current construction of that team versus the 2022-23 Sixers, how much more of a favorite?
I would be surprised going into the season if Boston and Milwaukee aren't preseason ahead of us. I would be surprised if they aren't. Back-to-back teams that went to the finals. Milwaukee won it. Milwaukee was second best player is injured, and they take Boston to 7 games.
Yeah.
We made a change, but the Malcolm Brogdon deal with Boston is really highly looked at around the league. Milwaukee made some good moves and brought the core of their team back, and so I even with the improvements that we've made as far as on our bench and players that brought in with role players that are going to fit a need for us. I just, even though I may think we're better in some ways than some other teams, I just don't see in the preseason us being picked higher than those two teams.
If they got Durant, it'd be even more that way.
Yeah.
And if you get Durant, I think it's definite for me that we won't be ahead of Boston.
I think they're NBA final favorites if they get Durant. So forget about the East. Let's just look at the overall NBA at that point.
Yeah.
Their starting 5 would be what? Smart, Brogdon. If they didn't have to give up Smart, Brogdon, Tatum, Durant, Williams. That starting 5 that's really good. There's a reason why they wanted to do it. And because Brown's contract's coming up, are you going to pay Brown Durant money, or why don't you just go get Durant for Durant money? So I see why they're interested in it. I think they said our over under win total was like 50.5. It's cool, interesting too, because those 3 teams, Milwaukee, Boston, and us, 3-way tie, right? Last year.
Yes.
So it's interesting. Like they all got better in the offseason. But what's interesting about us is we got to we were 51 games last year. So we were, I think 51 wins last year. That was without no Ben Simmons for pretty much all the year. We had a bad COVID stretch where I think Embiid missed like 8 to 10 games. And then we introduced Harden pretty much to the team late in the season. That's 51 wins with that setup. If you just give us Harden plus Tucker plus House plus Melton, the 50.5 seems low to me. I see us, unless we get really bad injury bugs, mid 50s.
I thought that felt low to me.
Yeah. Just based on what we've added.
I think the top teams in the East, let's just say, majority, healthy for the majority of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Those teams will be pushing 60 wins.
I think so too. Yeah, I think it will, and I think it will be a 3-way little dance between those three teams. I just don't think
Miami. It could be. It just really depends on.
Yeah.
To me, I think Miami is going to be there. I just feel like they're going to make some kind of a move.
They're too quiet. I don't trust it. I don't trust it at all. Way too quiet. They've just let teams. They let us take Tucker. They didn't really do much. They got to be playing something. It's either Mitchell or they're a dark horse for Durant. I don't know, but yeah, Riley is way too quiet in what is a very, very championship window team with Lowry's age and Butler's age. Like, it's go time. Like, you don't have your biggest players, your best players besides Bam are getting up there. So I feel like they have to do something. I feel like they're a step below the top 3. Close though. That's funny because they beat us, but
no, I don't think Miami is a step below.
Half step.
I was just saying that I would be surprised if Boston and Milwaukee didn't have a higher preseason rating. It wouldn't surprise me if Miami did too. But I don't think with the changes that we made, most people will start Miami in front of us.
In front of us, yeah.
As is.
Yeah. But yeah, going back to the original question, yes, they would be definite NBA favorites. I'm glad the Nets are hesitant to do that deal without at least getting smart in there. At least decimate their depth, man. Don't just. I mean, like the Nets can't give away Harden to one of their rivals and then give Durant away to the Celtics, and that'd be crazy. I mean, I can't see them doing that without getting better. But let's just hope they hold out for more.
But
We'll see.
Do you guys think by subtracting Tucker away from that Miami team, because right now, what has Miami really done this offseason? They re-signed Oladipo. Tucker's gone. I mean, does the subtraction of Tucker take away from that team? I mean, how much of the loss of Tucker to Miami does that do for them?
Yeah, I think it does, but that's why I said I don't think they're finished. I believe that because they haven't addressed that loss, but I believe that they will. I believe that a lot of moves for them haven't been made because it's sort of the KD watches on. And now with them, their name has been thrown out with Donovan Mitchell too. So I think until those guys are just kind of settled whether they're leaving or staying, then they probably won't make any moves until then. And then I think they'll make some moves. I think they'll be slightly different by the time the season starts.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was listening to one of the podcasts. I forgot who it was. But they were saying how much better Tucker even played than Miami even was counting on, and how important of a position he played for them last year. I think it was a very big loss for them, and it's going to be hard to replace that. But
I mean,
if anybody can replace it, it's that team.
Yes, I agree. They're very good at getting fill-ins, man.
They find some guys, and they fit that role. The accountability that they have in that organization, they've been able to fill roles.
Yeah.
So if I had to pick a team that could do it, it would be them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like every year they find like this new hidden gem. It's like, holy crap, this guy's good. And then like he goes somewhere elsewhere and like he does not do what he did in Miami at all.
They're able to fill roles.
100%. Yeah. All right. Okay. So with the last topic of the night, we have Tyrese Maxey, which we talked about him last year. Every week there's new workout videos of Tyrese Maxey coming up, but this one, it's not about a workout video so much. It's more about, he was on a podcast where he talked about his off-season regimen, where he says he wakes up at 5 and he does 3 workouts before 11 a.m. Monday through Friday. Every day he tries to get 3 workouts in before that. He says it gives him a psychological advantage over his opponents because he knows as he's working and doing court workouts, weight room, and then court again before 11 a.m. his opponents are sleeping while he's doing that. He says it feels like he's doing more than his opponent. And with a work ethic like that for a 21-year-old, I mean, I feel like it's just beyond his years. I feel like it's like Kobe-esque. I mean, for that mentality. Although I mean, a lot of NBA players have that same mentality. It just feels like he's wise beyond his years for a 21-year-old. But I guess, what do you guys think about his mentality? And overall, what do you think Tyrese Maxey's ceiling is?
I mean, he putting in work. I think if guys put in the same work, to me personally, it really doesn't matter what time you do it. I was a morning person. AI hated, he was we play in the evening. We should practice in the evening. That was his belief. And he was firm on that. Why don't we practice the same time that we play? So.
It's an interesting point to bring up.
That's good logic.
So, I just think if it's just about the work, the time. I'm not one to think if you get it in before a certain time that you have an advantage. I don't necessarily see that. I think it helps you with the rest of your day. It's like you have the rest of your day off. I'm a morning person, so you kind of feel like you have the rest of your day. So I don't think that, I just think the advantage is he's probably putting in more work than guys, not necessarily how early it is.
Mm-hmm.
as far as his ceiling, I think it's tough to say that right now because I don't think we've truly been able to see everything that he has to offer for a full season. Like, I don't think we've been able to say, hey, here's the keys to the car. You go run this organization and you the guy. I don't think we've seen it for a full season. We've seen it to start the season with Joel and then James comes. So it's kind of hard to say, is he going to be a Dame Lillard, a Darius Garland, a Trae Young? We don't know. I guess it's capable. Is he going to be a Drew Holiday? All really good players.
I'll take any of them.
You know what I'm saying? Like they're always so.
Take 3.
Yeah, but I would say his ceiling is to me. I think he can be an multi-year All-Star player. I don't know if he can be a perennial one where he can be one every year, but I think he's a guy that's capable of making multiple All-Star games. Sort of, there was a time when Kyle Lowry, no one thought he would ever be, the type of player that he is when he consistently made All-Star games. I mean, I can remember the time when no one thought he would do that. So I do think that he can be that type of player. Hopefully that's, with us. But if I had to take a guess, that's where I'm thinking he's headed.
I'm so happy Maxey is so young, under contract for cheap for years, and has this mentality. It's great just not to have to worry about a guy like, there's been certain players in the past where we've wondered what they're doing in the offseason, and we needed proof to see, oh, okay, he's working on it. He's working on it. Won't name names, but Maxey's. I don't have to even see those workout videos. You just know he's working on it. It's amazing to have that. As far as ceiling goes, I mean, yeah, I do agree with you, Eric. It is a little unfair, and he hasn't had to do all that stuff. But what's crazy is how efficient he's been. Because some guys, their stats get really hurt by that lack of opportunity and volume, right? But he's learned to even still come through and put up stats with a low number of shots taken, and he's just so efficient, and he's really good at the line. He's got and parts of his game, you just watch him get better. You can watch him get better by the day. You hear that a lot, but I mean, it's just when you watch him, you're like, man, he's just improving in front of our eyes. And I remember when we would watch games, Marcus and I'd be like, we would think like his step back 3 and his distance would just get further back, and you're like, oh, he's just really hot right now. But like, no, it became a part of his game all of a sudden, just to pull up a long 3. And you're like, whoa, man, like you have that now, huh? Okay, cool. That's just who you are. Great. I'd say it's, as far as some of the guys you named, I like too. I like the Garland one. That was a good one. Ironically, because of all the trade talk with Donovan Mitchell, he reminds me a little Donovan Mitchell too. Not as long, but I think he's got some traits there. He can shoot, he can hit mid-rangers, very crafty around the whole left and right hand. What he does is just incredible. But I mean, I'd say with like a Donovan Mitchell, I wouldn't say Ja because he's not nearly as athletic. But I think he's got a better shot than Ja too, though. So some
also got the ball. That's what I'm saying. Like Ja is the key. He got the keys.
That's true. That's true.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, how much of that are we going to be able to see of him with Joel being the number one option?
Mm.
Yeah, and Donovan Mitchell had the keys too. But see, Donovan Mitchell, I think's like overshooting, right? Like he's the opposite of Maxey. I think Maxey, I'd like to get more opportunity. Donovan Mitchell, I feel like is forcing because he has to. I mean, last year he had to.
Donovan Mitchell's also not the lead guard.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
I see if Maxey's reaching his maybe highest ceiling, and he's going to be like a Darius Garland. He's going to be the lead guard.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, so maybe for right now, Mitchell is possibly a better comparison because he is off ball, and so is Maxey. And Conley's pretty ball dominant, right? So yeah, but I mean, hey, look, any of the guys we named, I'm anywhere close to those guys, I'd be happy with. I mean, where everyone's saying Sixers need to look for a big three. I mean, if he's got those guys possibly in his future, then that is a big three, you know?
Yeah. Just young, very young and raw still, which is great because he's really.
Yeah.
Yeah. The leap we talked about before, the leaps he's made from year 1 to year 2, amazing. So I'm curious to see how he takes all these off-season workouts and puts them into the year 3. It's funny though, his looking at it, he was a high school video where they asked him where like he, compares his game to what he looks to in high school. He said he loves watching James Harden's game, his step back three, something he loves watching. That's what he said in high school. But he said he wanted to he models his game after Dame Lillard. So I don't really see how he's modeled the game after Dame Lillard. I mean, yeah, he's come down, you see him pop threes from like deep, but like he doesn't do it consistently.
Yeah, but that's what I'm trying to say. When Tyrese Maxey was in Texas, and I was in Texas when he was in high school, he was more of a lead guard. He had the ball more. He was more ball dominant. So you can see him pattern himself after James and Dame Lillard because that's the way, the style he was playing in high school. Whereas now, he doesn't have the ball as much and as ball dominant, so it's tough to kind of say what his true ceiling is going to be until he becomes the main and primary ball handler. In my
Yeah. He named someone else too, didn't he? Another player he
said on the high school level, he said he really enjoys watching Clippers guy,
Mann. Trey Mann. Yeah. That's funny. They both good players.
Yeah.
It's interesting too, because I think there would be a lot more pressure on Maxey. The fact that Harden's here and has become like pretty much the story, everyone's been saying we go as depending on which Harden comes out next year. I think that takes a lot of pressure off Maxey to have to take these leaps. So it's cool to see him step up and want to take a leap anyway, even if the pressure's not there. He feels like he needs to and wants to, which is cool.
Yeah. Because you saw in the playoffs, there was games where Harden really wasn't doing much, and Maxey. It was the first few games of the Raptors series. Maxey took off, and we went where Maxey went in those games.
Yeah.
So yeah, excited to see where this his career goes. In which one of these point guards steps he follows. But all right, guys. Well, that does it for us. Thanks for tuning in to Bleav In 76ers presented by BetOnline. We'll see you guys next week as we hope more news and rumors gets in the rumor mill for us to discuss in the show. So we'll see you guys next week.
All right, take it easy.